Good morning, YouTube. Sorry for the audio, I am exhausted. It is 7:22 in the morning. That I'm recording this video. I decided to do it early today because today I've got a lot of housework to do. So I wanted to get this video done and posted nice and early, so then I have the rest of the day to clean up the house, and because we are going to have a big thunderstorm hitting soon in the morning, and yeah, I didn't want to really be on any of my electronics when the storm hit. Not that I'm paranoid or anything, but just to be safe. Anywho, so we'll start out. We've got so much to cover today. We have my September TBR wrap up, and then we'll discuss my fall TBR. I figured I'd put it together in one video, being that this is the last week of September anyway. Roughly, so, and we're about to get into fall anyway, so why not start early? So, a lot of the books that we're going to talk about today, well, two of them I don't currently own. They were checked out from the library, and I returned them already. And then the others, there's one book that I do have here. And the others are ebooks. So for those, I'll have to show you guys on my tablet, which I've got sitting right here. This pink thing here, this is what I use as my reading journal and my lists for my upcoming, TBRs. I, in the past, haven't really followed the list that I make for myself. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm a mood reader. But these lists that I wrote down, I took the time, really took the time with them. And I feel like this time, will follow the lists. I want to follow the list. I'm going to try to push myself to follow the lists. So yeah. So to begin, we'll go ahead and discuss my September TBR wrap up. Oh, and a quick side note. Sometimes my phone does cut me out or cut me off when I'm recording. So if I hit the 30-minute mark, I'll go ahead and I'll stop here or, there. And then I'll make a continuation video, as I don't know how long this video is going to be. But to begin, I gotta search up the first book because I made the mistake and put up the wrong book. There we go. So the first book that I read, let me see if I can just, there we go, for September, is called If I Live by Terry Blackstock. Oh, crud. Kind of bright. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to shoot. Let me turn on another light, maybe that'll help. You're back. Okay. I'm actually using one of her counters as a desk, which is why you see the chair. Oh, I just had it. Oh. See if I go that way. See, if I face it to me, then you can see it. Oh, this is gonna suck. I might not be able to show you anything up here. And I'm really comfy up here, too. try to see if there we go. Okay, so it's If I Live by Terry Blackstock. Now this is book 1 of a trilogy. It is a Christian thriller, and basically it's about a girl named Casey who, ow, my finger, sorry, who, she not really witnessed. She goes to visit a friend, finds him murdered, and she leaves. She leaves the town, everything, because the cops are accusing her of the murder, and it's basically her story while being on the run, trying to figure out how to clear her name, and also her working her way towards getting closer to her relationship with God, and just trying to figure out things in her life, all while trying to stay hidden from the cops, because she didn't do this murder, but she needs to find out who did this murder. Now this book, I give it 5 stars. I loved it. I loved how it was written. I loved the writing. Now this book I did get from the library, and once I finished the first book and I enjoyed it so much, I did find on Amazon the whole trilogy. It's like in one book, but all 3 books in it as an ebook. It was originally $16.99, and it happened to go on sale for $2.99. That's a steal. So I grabbed that immediately. However, I don't know if it's still for $2.99. It could be, but I'm not sure. I do highly recommend this series. Even though I haven't finished it yet, I'm just gonna fall and say, get it. Just based on the first book, it's so good. There's a lot of faith content. The writing, it's not slow, but it's also not very fast. It's a good medium in between, and it gets you in the mindset, like you can actually picture in your head what's going on, as if you're like watching a TV show happening, which I think this would make a really good TV show if it isn't already, or a movie. But I had heard a lot about Terry Blackstock. I've heard like her writing is phenomenal, that her books are great, especially this series is actually pretty popular. So I'm really glad that I was finally able to start this trilogy, and I really liked it. And I do plan to eventually try to read all of her other books that she has out, which is quite a few. Now the next book is that I read. Flip these pages. So much work, which was also a library book. And here we go. It is The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. This is her newest book that she came out with recently, and I was so excited to read this book because I read the first book of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I've been trying to read book 2 and 3. Fortunately, there's a hold time for like 12 weeks, so I've been waiting. It's taking forever. I'd love to get the ebook versions on my Kindle, because I do own book 1 as an ebook, but each book costs $10 right now. So I'm kind of seeing what happens first. Does the wait time go down in the library, or will the books go on sale first? So we'll see. I did find something out though. If you do currently own book 1 as an ebook on your Kindle, I found out that the ebook version on Amazon is the version that takes place in the UK. The physical book, if you were to buy the physical book here, in the US. It takes place in a town, fictional town in the US. So if you have the ebook, like book one, or one of the books as an ebook on your tablet, excuse me, and you go and you get a physical copy of it, whether you get it yourself or it was a gift, you might have it taking place in two different areas, so it might be a little bit confusing. So there's that to keep in mind. Now, I really enjoyed Good Girls Trying to Murder, and again, I want to read book 2 and 3. I really liked the writing. So when I heard this book was coming out, I was so excited because I love that trilogy, and I want to read, the rest of it. But when I tried to read this one, and I hate to say this, but I had a DNF it. I didn't like it. I couldn't get into the writing. I really couldn't get into the story. It's just, I don't know, something about the writing style. It's so different than how she wrote her other books that I just didn't like it. I couldn't get into it. And the biggest thing that I didn't like was so much language in the book. Just within like the first chapter, there was so many cuss words and a foul language of a teenager to her grandmother. And I might sound old, but when I was a child growing up, we learned you respect your elders. And I know this is a fictional story, but that just rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like that. So unfortunately, I did not finish this book, and I hate that I didn't. I really wanted to like it, but I didn't. I do plan to read her other books that she has. Was it Killjoy and 5 Survive, I think it's called. I still plan to read those as well. Because I do know, I'm not going to like every book from an author. Nobody really does. Some people do, and that's fine too. This just happens to be one that I didn't quite care for. So, that one unfortunately was a DNF. Now the last book that I read for September, which I've got here, was book 3, Keeper of the Lost Cities. OMG, you guys. This book was awesome. It did start out a little bit slow in the beginning, so I was kind of a little worried. And then it picked up like that. Oh my gosh, did I laugh in this book. So much. So much humor in this book. And the twists towards the end, like, holy cow. It was good. Without giving too much away, I don't remember what page it was, but there was a part where Sophie, who's the main character, her bodyguard, which is a goblin named Sandor, as you read in the books, he's a 7-foot tall goblin. But he can sneak into any room quietly, unannounced, and freak the crap out of you because he's just there. And you're like, how the heck did he not make any noise? And it reminds me so much of my husband because he's 6'4", and he does the same thing. But there's one particular part in the book where she kind of questions that, like, how the heck did you walk so quietly with those big goblin feet? And the goblin's like, I don't have big goblin feet. And she puts her foot next to his foot, and her foot's so small next to his foot, and he's like, okay, maybe I do. And once again, it reminded me of my husband because not only is he 6'4", I'm 5'2", but for a shoe size, I'm between a 7.5 and an 8, depending on the shoe. My husband, he's a size 15 in men's shoes. So I really related to that part right there. And oh my gosh, the nicknames that are in this book are hilarious. I highly recommend this series so much, and I haven't even finished it all. But read the series. You will not be disappointed. I will say one thing. Even though this is a middle grade series, I don't recognize. Okay, I can't talk anymore. I don't recommend this series for anybody that's 13 and under, because there is some parts in here that I don't think a young child or a 13-year-old should be reading. Unless your 13-year-old is very mature for their age and and you decide you want them to read it and you're okay with it, then again, that's your choice. Excuse me. I feel like I'm losing my voice today. I don't know why. But, yeah. I gave this one 5 stars. I've been giving all of these 5 stars because they're that good. I can't tell you much about this one because it's gonna be spoilers if you haven't read the first 2. So I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna say read it. Read it. Read it. And this one is Everblaze. I love the purple. I just love this purple. My favorite color is purple. And I think this was a UK version that my aunt actually surprised me with, which is why it looks so different than like the original covers here in the US. So, I love them. And I'm still looking forward for the new one that comes out in December. So, got 2 more months to finish the rest of these books, and I'm almost halfway through, so. So, that wrapped up my September TBR. I was actually kind of impressed that I was able to read that many books within a month. Just September was a pretty busy month for me, and I've been having a hard time reading more books within a month lately. Sometimes I only can get 1 book done within a month, because it's not that I read slow. Sometimes I like to take my time, but then I get distracted with, work and the apartment and our family. Oi! Alright, I gotta fix this chair. So now I want to go over my fall TBR. Now, my fall TBR, let me move this out of the way. My fall TBR is going to be for the month of October and November. So, once November hits, I won't do another TBR video, because I'm just gonna put it as one big fall TBR video. So I do have a list of 7 books to read between October and November. I think I can do it. Gonna try to do it. I'll try to read as much as I can. But I'm gonna try to read the books in somewhat of the order that I wrote. I just noticed I'm already reading 1 out of the order. I just started reading one of the books on the list yesterday. And that one is called The Witness by Nora Roberts. Let's see if I can pull up a picture of that one. So the way that I wrote out this list is I started out with some really good thrillers that I heard is really good, has some really good ratings. And then towards the bottom, we have, like the cozy fall books and a nice fantasy book. So I figured we'll start out with the thrillers, for October, and then calm it down to the cozies for November. What the? There we go. I'll go ahead and show you the cover. Right there. Now that's the cover for the physical copy. The ebook cover is a little bit different. It's just as pretty. It's just a little bit different. And I'll go ahead and I'll read this little synopsis here of what this book is about. On Goodreads, it does have a almost a 5-star rating, so that's pretty cool. And daughter of a controlling mother, Elizabeth finally let loose one night, drinking at a nightclub and allowing a strange man's seductive Russian accent lure her to a house on Lakeshore Drive. The events that followed changed her life forever. Now, saying that, I came across this book by my best friend Hazel, so shout out to Hazel. She received this book from another friend of hers, and she read it. She devoured it. She loved the book. She raved about it. She told me, hey, you need to read this book. It's really good. It's a thriller. You might really like it. I enjoyed it. And so I ended up checking it out as an ebook from my local library, and I did start reading it yesterday, and I do have to say I'm so far I'm enjoying it, even though I just started. So basically what it is, to kind of clarify that summary, is Elizabeth witnesses a murder. Kind of similar to the If I Live series. So she witnesses a murder, and from what my friend told me, it's basically her in hiding because the people who committed the murder, I guess they know she witnessed it and she's being targeted. So she basically, I think she has to be like in a witness protection program kind of thing. So it's basically that story. So excuse me, my throat. It sounds pretty good to me. I do like thrillers, obviously. So I figured I'd give it a try. You know, my friend did recommend it. I'm always recommending her books too. We go back and forth. We both have a huge collection of books. It's not even funny. Kind of a problem, really. So yeah, plan to read that. Well, I started reading it, so that one was actually the second one on my list. But I saw that it was available to check out on Libby, so I went ahead and I got it now, and I'm going to start with that one, obviously. The next book on the list, and I see I'm getting kind of close to the 30-minute mark, so I'm trying to keep my eye on it, is called The Teacher by Frida McFadden, I think that's how you pronounce her name, or Frida. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. I read her book Never Lie, and I absolutely loved it. And so I want to read more of her books. So what I did was I picked 2 of her books that had pretty good ratings on Goodreads. And to start out with, I do plan to read more of her books eventually within the next year. But only have 2 of her books on this list. And the first one is The Teacher, which is this cover right here. So, let's see. I've been hearing this a lot on Facebook. A lot of people really enjoyed this one of hers too. So that's why I kind of chose this one. So the synopsis here is Lesson 1, Trust No One. Eve has a good life. She wakes up each day, kisses her husband Nate, and heads off to teach math at the local high school. All is as it should be, except last year, Kasem High was rocked by a scandal involving a student-teacher affair, with one student, Addie, at its center. But Eve knows there is far more to these ugly rumors than meets the eye. Addie can't be trusted. She lies. She hurts people. She destroys lives. At least that's what everyone says. But nobody knows the real Addie. Nobody knows the secrets that can destroy her. And Addie will do anything to keep quiet. So that sounds pretty interesting. I'm not too crazy about the student-teacher affair part, but I mean, we'll see when we get there. If it's too detailed for me, obviously, I won't continue. But if it's something that I can handle, keep going, then, I'll finish the book. Hopefully, it's something that I do enjoy. Um, but, yeah. And then, so there's that one that I plan to read, which I cannot wait. And then the other one that I chose is her, I want to say, most popular one as of right now, and that is The Housemaid. Now, I did try to read this before, a while back, and I had stopped because it was getting a little bit too intense for me at that time of my life. But I decided I'm gonna go back into it and reread it and finish this book at that time, because now book 3 was just released, and I've been hearing people raving about this series nonstop. A fellow YouTuber that I watch is TBR with Mom and Shar. They were raving about it. They all loved it, and I remember from what I was reading, I was enjoying it. Um, so now I feel like I'm ready to read it again, because it's been a while from where I left off, and then finish it, and then eventually get to book 2 and 3. Um, so, that's my plan with those. I got time to go over one more book from this list, and then I'm gonna have to end the video here, and then I'll be right back for the continuation. We'll do that. We might have to do that maybe 2 more times. No, just one more. Because there's only 4 more books to go through. So, really quick, because I'm getting really quick. The next book on my list is a YA, young adult book, and if I can scroll it, it is called Shutter. Why did it just do that? Okay. Shutter by Lori Faria Stellars. I've always been a huge fan of her books since I was a teenager. I read her Blues for Nightmare series. I really enjoy that series. However, I had to get rid of that series because of the content that's in it, and my faith in God. Can't really have that content. But so far, I've really enjoyed her books. I'm trying to get through the Amanda Project series, because that series is written by a bunch of different authors, including Laurie Stellars. She wrote book 3 of that series, so I wanted to read that series. I have I've got 4 other books, actually. One is Welcome to Dark House, and the other one is Return to Dark House, and I can't remember what the other 2 are at the moment. So I wanted to continue reading her books, or the ones that I can read that doesn't have the content that I don't read anymore. And this particular book, I've been wanting to read it for a while, and I could just never find it anywhere for some reason. Down in Florida where I live, this book wasn't in the library for some reason. They didn't carry it. And I saw that on Amazon, they do have an ebook version of it, so I'm hoping I can find it in the library up here as an ebook, because I really want to read this book. My husband did get it for me on Audible, and I was trying to listen to it on Audible, and I come to the realization I can't listen to audiobooks. I can't. I have to have the book in front of me. I don't know why. So this book, Shutter, is about a girl named Day. She's 16, And this particular day that she's out with friends, she notices a strange boy. Now, let me reverse a little bit. She carries a camera. She loves photography. So she's out with her friends at the store, and she sees the strange boy, and something about him just kind of calls to her, and she befriends this boy and finds out that he's actually on the run. He escaped it's kind of like a juvenile detention center because he's accused of murdering, I think it's just his father, and he claims that he didn't do it, that he's innocent, he's trying to clear his name. So basically it's Dade trying to help him clear his name, but here's the thing. Is he really as innocent as he says? That's the question. So I can't wait to get into this book. I've always loved Laurie Stellars. I follow her on Instagram, and I believe she follows me back, which is really cool. So yeah, and she writes so many different books. She writes thrillers. She's got a book called Love, which is an anthology of love stories. So she's done a bunch of different things. If you like YA thrillers, and I highly recommend her books. They're really good. So that does it for this part of the video. We're going to go ahead and call this part 1 of the Fall TBR. And we'll continue back with part 2. And we'll be going over the last 3 books on the Fall TBR. So, go ahead and leave it here. Don't forget to hit subscribe and hit the notification bell down below so you can get alerted when I post new videos. And I'll see you really quick. I'll be right back.